Bond?
I think 500 is appropriate, Your Honor. Last year I was almost.
I hear the state, though.
20
I
years
mean, the
ago.
state's concerned about this. This is an aggravated factual situation, really. I mean, she's nearly comatose, you know, and she's driving. I'm going to increase the bond to $1,000, okay? Condition of your probation is no driving, okay? Excuse me, a condition of your release is no driving, excuse me.
And state would also ask for no consumption.
Wow. Good luck with that. Okay. I'm not even going to put that because that should just be right back in here. All right. Good luck to you, ma'am. Have a good day. Are you Mr. Minor?
Yes, I am.
How you doing?
Okay, and you?
On-site VOP and Willis. 18 is the new one, and the VOP is 17. Take the dualist first. As to the driving license suspended, do find probable cause. Point the public defender. As to the VOP, you're on probation for grand theft, on-site VOP. Do find probable cause, point the public defender. Bond on the VOP, state.
Your Honor, on the VOP, state would ask for $5,000. On the dualist, state would ask for $2,000.
Mr. White?
3,000 on the VOP, Your Honor. 2,000 on the duelists. That's fine.
How much on the dualist?
2,000.
All right, 3,000 on your VOP, 2,000 on the VOP, on the driving license is suspended. Have a good day, sir. What's your name, sir?
Gregory O'Leary, sir.
And Mr. O'Leary. There he is. All right, I'm going to find probable cause, point the public defender, possession with intent, 2,000 state. You agree with that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, I haven't got to the others yet. As possession of less than 2,500 state,
I think that would be appropriate.
possession of drug paraphernalia with residue, 5 counts, $2,500. Do you have any objection to that?
No, Your Honor.
Any objection to any of that, Mr. White?
No objection, Your Honor.
Your Honor, is that $2,500 going to be broken down to $500?
500 per count. Yes, ma'am, I'm sorry. All right, good luck to you, sir. You have a good day.
And on count two, you said 500 or 25?
On count two, I said 500. It's less than 20.
Okay, thank you.
And first one's a felony, so that's $2,000.
Can I speak with my attorney real quick, please?
What's your name, ma'am?
Belinda Sanders.
All right, Miss Sanders. What, we got an on-site VOP for ag assault? All right. Laminitis? Okay.
And Your Honor, it does appear that Ms. Sanders qualifies as AMA.
Good boy. Okay. And you get to go see Judge Laminitis.
So I can't plead.
Florida Department of Corrections, violation of community control. Do find probable cause, point to public defender. You're going to be held without bond. You need to go see Judge Laminitis if you want to get that changed, ma'am. Good luck to you.
Sir.
All right. What's your name, sir?
Christian Sklasky, Your Honor.
Lasky. So you are little battery DB. Huh? Dating violence. For son Christian. Find probable cause by the public defender. What's the bond on this one, Estate?
Your Honor, state would request 2,500.
Any objection, Mr. White?
Yes, Judge. I would ask for pre-trial release.
I don't think so. I don't like the facts of this case. $2,500 bond will be appropriate. No return, no contact with the victim. One-time return with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings. All right, good luck to you, sir. Mr. Walden.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's see what we got here, sir. All right, well, I find probable cause. I do appoint the public defender. I guess I can see why there's two counts here. Bond on the state?
Your Honor, state would ask for 2,000 count one, 1,000 count two.
Mr. White?
1,000 on each count, Your Honor.
2,000 count one, 500 on count two. No return. No contact with his wife. One-time return with law enforcement to retrieve your belongings. Good luck to you, sir. Are we done?
I think we're good.
That's everyone, Your Honor. Yep. How close was he?
All right, can we begin? Everyone ready? Can you hear me? I'm not hearing you. Can you hit something on your end so we can hear you?
Sorry, Your Honor. Melida Ortega, Public Defender's Office.
There you go. Let's, Mr. Raul Alicia. Is Mr. Alicia present? Mr. Alicia, you have a violation of domestic violence injunction. Judge Bigney has signed an order at no bond. I'm going to ask the Public Defender's Office will be appointed to everyone, and I'll ask that they file any motions on your behalf. I'll stay the bond at none. Thank you. Danielle Campos?
Your Honor,
Yes.
Your Honor, I'm sorry. If we can address Ms. Diaz-Vasquez, there's mental health concerns, so we kind of want to get her out of this room rather quickly.
All right, Linaire C. Diaz-Vasquez. That's about 5 down in the
Ms.
file.
Diaz-Vasquez? You can come up. You can see. I'll tell you now. Right here.
Yes, sir. Are you Linaire C. Diaz-Vasquez?
Yes, Your Honor.
Good morning.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
You are charged with battery, unlawful touching, or striking.
And I want to take my clothes off.
Don't say anything. Don't say anything.
Well, I don't know if you should do that. Now is probably not the right time. So I'm going to stay the bond at no time. I'm going to stay the bond at none
Your
at this
Honor.
point, and I'm going to ask that you have a mental health evaluation.
For Ms. Diaz-Vasquez, I've been informed that she has no history. Defense would be requesting that she be straight PTR. There is currently a mental health hold, so she will be evaluated and likely referred to Park Place. She has no history, so we'd be requesting just a straight pretrial release in this case.
Provided that she gets a mental health evaluation, I would order mental health pretrial release. She's also not to return to the scene and not to have any contact with the victim while these charges are pending. All right?
Your Honor, if I may, Joe Gibson from PTR, can we give her PTR with mental health conditions?
That's what he said.
Yes, I would like her to immediately, within 48 hours, have a mental health evaluation. I would like her not to return to the scene and not to have any contact with the victim. All right? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Your Honor.
Yeah. All right, Daniel Campos.
Your Honor, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Your Honor, I'm sorry. In reference to Ms. Diaz, her mother states that she wants to have contact. She's the victim, and they also live together.
Then I will amend it to no hostile contact with the victim. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, Daniel Campos.
Daniel Campos. Daniel Campos.
Good morning, sir. You're charged with 3 counts of battery, 1 count of disorderly intoxication, 1 count of criminal mischief. I'm sorry, 2 counts of criminal mischief, 1 count of resisting arrest without violence. As to all 7 counts, your total bond is set at $7,000. I'll stay the bond at those amounts. Thank you. Maria Cruz Arobo.
Okay.
Is Maria Cruz Arobo present?
Cruz. Your Honor, if I may, for PTR, Ms. Cruz is on active probation, on state active probation.
Your Honor, this is going to be a Spanish speaker. We do need the interpreter.
Okay. The interpreter is not here yet. However, having reviewed the affidavits, the total bond is set at $60,000, and I'm inclined simply to stay the bonds at $60,000 total.
Your Honor, we could elicit bond testimony for the purposes of you considering it and setting your bond.
I believe that those are the standard
So
bonds
we're
amount.
going to need the interpreter.
Yeah, no, I know. Just
Excuse me?
tell her to have a seat, and we'll call it up when we can.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Vaya a sentarse y cuando el intérprete esté aquí, la traen para atrás.
Abdil Delgado Nieves.
Delgado Nieves. Okay.
All right, Mr. Delgado Nieves, you have a violation of probation or community control from Judge O'Brien, and the bond is currently set at none. I would ask your public defender to file an appropriate motion. Thank you.
I do.
Is Dickie Ray Roach Dingus? Mr. Dingus?
Okay, there we go.
Mr. Dingus, you're charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Bond is set at $1,500. I'm going to order, if you are able to post bond, that you not return to the scene and have no contact with the victim while these charges are pending. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. John Echeverria.
Echeverria is also a Spanish speaker, Your Honor, and so is Fernandez Castro Felipe.
All right.
They're both Spanish speakers.
As to Mr. Echeverria, the bond is at $250. I was simply going to release him on pretrial release. Oh, we do have one now. Okay.
Dalia Romero, Spanish interpreter for the record.
All right, we have John Echeverria. Mr. Echeverria, I'm going to release you on pretrial release.
Señor Echevarría, usted va a salir bajo libertad preventiva.
Are you Mr. Echeverria?
¿Es usted el señor Echevarría?
Yes, see?
Yes.
Okay. Your bond was set at $250, but I'm going to release you on pretrial release.
Su fianza era de $250, pero yo le voy a permitir salir bajo el programa de libertad preventiva.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Muchas gracias.
All right. You're welcome. Maria Cruz Arobo. And if there's any other interpreter cases, tell me if you know. All right. Ms. Cruz Arobo, you are charged with trafficking in heroin, 2 counts of possession of controlled substances, delivery of cocaine, and possession of paraphernalia. Your total bond is set at $60,000. I'm inclined to stay those bonds at a total of $60,000.
Your Honor, defense would request to elicit testimony from Ms. Cruz Arrobo at this time.
All right. Raise your right hand to be sworn, or have they all been sworn?
No, she has not been sworn.
Okay.
She is an interpreter case, so.
Your Honor, if I may interpret the charges. Señora Arrobo, usted ha sido acusada de una acusación de tráfico de heroína, 2 casos de tenencia de sustancia controlada, una acusación de tenencia de cocaína y una acusación de tenencia de accesorios para el uso de drogas. El juez ha establecido que la fianza es de $60,000 y la va a mantener igual. La abogada de la defensa quiere solicitar algún tipo de testimonio de parte suya momentáneamente.
What did you want to present?
I was just going to elicit testimony from her, Your Honor, so she needs to be under oath.
Okay, I'll have the clerk swear her in.
Señora, levante su mano derecha para prestar juramento.
Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you're about to give should be the truth, the whole truth, so help you God?
Usted afirma que el testimonio que usted y jura que el testimonio que va a presentar es la verdad, toda la verdad y nada más que la verdad ante Dios.
Sí.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Proceed.
Sí.
Bien.
Okay.
Go
Ms.
ahead.
Cruz, how long have you lived in Florida?
Señora Cruz, ¿cuánto tiempo lleva viviendo en la
Año y
Florida?
medio.
¿Perdón?
Año y medio.
Year and a half.
Mhm. And where do you live?
En 4171 Costa Isle.
Mhm. Is that here in Kissimmee, Florida?
Sí.
Okay.
Sí.
Yes.
Espere que ella interprete y después usted puede contestar. ¿Me entiende?
Ajá.
Okay. Do you have family here in Florida?
¿Usted tiene parientes aquí en la Florida?
Mi hija y mis nietos.
My son and
Mi
grandchildren.
hija y mis nietos.
My daughter and
Okay.
grandchildren.
And how long have they lived in Florida?
¿Cuánto tiempo llevan ellos viviendo en la Florida?
Más de 4 años.
More than 4 years.
And you said that you lived in Florida for about a year. Where were you living before being here in Florida?
Estaba en Puerto Rico y en New York. Puerto Rico, en el país de Puerto Rico.
Island of Puerto Rico.
Okay. Do you have any mental health issues?
Thank you.
¿Usted tiene alguna dificultad de salud mental?
Sí.
Yes.
What are you diagnosed with?
¿Cuál ha sido el diagnóstico?
Depresión y anger management.
Depression and anger management.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
No tengo ninguna otra pregunta, Su Señoría.
I don't know if I can find that she has sufficient ties to Central Florida, so I'm going to stay the bond at $60,000.
Voy a mantener la fianza en los $60,000. No creo que tengo suficientes causas que muestren que ella tiene lazos que la aten al centro de la Florida. Eso es
All right.
todo.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, Felipe Fernandez
Also
Castro.
on active probation.
This is a mess.
Say
She's
that.
also on active probation on Osceola County.
I don't have any documentation on that, so I won't take any other action.
El juez no va a tomar ninguna otra acción en los casos que usted está bajo libertad vigilada en el condado de Osceola.
Do you have a case number?
17 CF 2093.
All right, I'll let the state file anything if they want to. All right, Felipe Fernandez Castro.
Felipe Fernández Castro.
Se puede sentar.
¿La dejaron igual?
Sí, lo dejo igual.
¿Por qué?
Ahora le explico.
Are you Mr. Fernandez Castro?
¿Es usted el señor Fernández Castro?
Sí.
Yes.
All right, you're charged with possession of marijuana. I'm going to set the bond at $500. Possession of paraphernalia, set the bond at $100, or if you qualify, pretrial release. Thank you.
Señor, su fianza en el caso de tenencia de marihuana es $500. En el caso de tenencia de accesorios para el uso de drogas son $100, a menos que califique para el programa de libertad preventiva. Gracias.
Your Honor, he only qualifies for bond with pretrial release.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Gracias, señor. Eso es todo.
Se puede sentar.
Carlos Gardner.
Carlos Gardner.
Mr. Gardner, you're charged with possession of cocaine. Bond is set at $1,000. Possession of paraphernalia. Bond is set at $500. As to your 4 pending misdemeanors, I'm going to take no action as to those open cases. Thank you.
Okay.
Patrick Gilligan. Patrick
Your Honor,
Gilligan.
on Mr. Gilligan, defense will be requesting a reset
Okay, thank you.
to tomorrow. Thank you.
Valdez Hardy. Is Mr. Hardy present?
Valdez Hardy.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Hardy, there's not much I can do. You've got a bond from Pasco County with a purge amount of $513. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Donald Losi?
Donald Losi. Oh, he's in the cage, Your Honor. You
All
could
right.
just stand up.
Mr. Losi, I see you there in the back right. I have a failure to appear on a promise to Judge Draper, who has set the bond at $9,999. I'm not really authorized to amend that amount, so we'll stay the bond at $9,999. I'll ask the public defender to file any appropriate motions. Chadwick Ling? Chadwick Ling? Mr. Ling?
Chadwick Ling.
Mr. Ling, you're charged with trespassing. I'm going to set the bond at $250, and loitering or prowling, I'll reduce the bond to $100 for a total of $350. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Your Honor. You can have a seat.
Chelsea Massey?
Chelsea Macy? Yeah, Massey.
Are you Chelsea Massey?
Hello?
Yes? Are you
Yes.
Chelsea Massey?
Oh, hi. I'm sorry. I have bad hearing.
I've
Can you
got
hear me? Can you hear me? Okay. Yeah.
I've got 3 failures to appear, 3 different warrants signed by Judge Draper, all 3 set at 0, so I'm not authorized to reduce those amounts at this time. I'd ask your attorney to file a motion with Judge Draper. Thank you. Loomis Maraza?
Your Honor, in Mr. Morales' case, we'd be waiving the reading of the charges.
Is Mr. Maraza present?
Oh, and he is a Spanish speaker, so we are going to need the interpreter.
All right. Are you Loomis Maraza?
¿Es usted Leumas Moraza?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Maraza, your bond is currently set at none as to all 4 counts. I'm going to make a finding that there's no appropriate conditions upon which you could be released, and your bond is stayed at none.
Señor Moraza, en sus acusaciones, en los 4 casos que usted tiene, está siendo detenido sin fianza y el juez halla que no hay ninguna razón o causa por la cual se le deba establecer una fianza en este momento.
Your Honor, in regards to the aggravated assault charges, defense would argue he is entitled to bond in those cases, and we'd be requesting that the court set a reasonable bond in those, as far as those 3 allegations. He is entitled to it, unless there was a finding of proof evident presumption great.
Well, I have read the affidavit. I'm certainly not going to give him a bond on the murder charge, but I'm still going to find that proof is evident and presumption great as to the 3 aggravated assault with a deadly weapon charges. So bond is stayed at none. Thank you.
Your Honor, just for the record, would you go ahead and translate? I don't know if she wants to translate that. Well, Your Honor, just for the record, defense would request that you please put on the record the reasons as to why you found that proof evident presumption great has been met.
Well, the only opportunity I've had to review anything is the language contained within the affidavit, and I find the language contained within the affidavit provides a sufficient basis. Thank you.
El juez ha hallado que no hay razón por la cual en este momento, de acuerdo a la affidavit que se ha presentado, la affidavit acusatoria, para dar una fianza en los 3 casos de agresión con agravantes. Y todo esto está contenido en la affidavit que el juez ha leído y ha decidido no establecer una fianza en este momento.
Thank you, sir.
Gracias, señor.
Okay. Se puede sentar.
Alejandro Rivera.
Your Honor, what did you say? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Alejandro Rivera. Mr. Rivera, are you Alejandro Rivera? You're charged with possession of marijuana. Bond is set at $250. Possession of paraphernalia. I'll reduce the bond to $100 or pretrial release if you qualify. All right, thank you.
Señor Rivera, usted fue acusado de tenencia de marihuana y tenencia de accesorios para drogas. La fianza es de $100 o salir bajo el programa de libertad preventiva si es que califica. Gracias.
Okay. If he qualifies for pretrial release. So it's $100 or if he qualifies for pretrial release.
Your Honor, you're releasing him on PTR or with bond?
PTR if he qualifies. If he does not qualify, he can post a bond.
Si es elegible, puede salir bajo fianza o participar en el programa de PTR, libertad preventiva.
All right, Robert Roby. Mr. Roby?
Robbie? Okay. He's approaching, Your Honor.
Are you Robert Roby? All right. You're charged with a violation. You're charged with a violation of probation. There's a no bond order from Judge Draper. I'll stay the bond at none and ask your attorney to file an appropriate motion. Thank you.
Yeah, no bond.
Gerald Stokes. Mr. Stokes? I don't know the charges. I only know that it's a violation of probation on a felony charge, and there's an order from Judge Barber setting the bond at none. So at this point, I'll stay the bond at none and ask your attorney to file any motions. Thank you. Pablo Rubio Takashel.
Your Honor, in this case, we'd be waiving the reading of the charges.
All right. Do we need an interpreter?
Oh, yes, we do need an interpreter, Your Honor.
Okay, well, despite the waiving of the reading of the charges, I'm going to add some additional conditions. So, because it's an aggravated stalking with a victim under 16, I will stay the bond at $3,500, but I'm going to order that he have absolutely no contact with the victim, and he's not to return to within 500 feet of the scene where the incident's alleged to have occurred. Madam Interpreter.
Dado el caso que tiene aquí, que no se va a leer en actas, yo voy a hallar otras condiciones adicionales que se le van a imponer, además de la fianza que tiene de $3,500. Usted no puede tener ningún tipo de contacto con la alegada víctima, no puede acercarse a 500 pies de donde ella se encuentre o regresar al lugar de los hechos.
All right, thank you.
Bien, gracias.
¿Se puede sentar?
All right, Alberto Velez. Mr. Velez.
Alberto, yeah. Your Honor, in this case, we'd be also waiving the reading of the charges.
I understand that, but based on the additional conditions that I'm going to impose, Mr. Velez, as to the child abuse without great bodily harm, I'm going to set the bond at $2,500. You are to have no contact with the victim while these charges are pending, and you are not to return to the scene or within 500 feet of the victim while these charges are pending. Any question about that?
Your Honor, in regard to the no return of the scene, would you allow a one-time assist with law enforcement so he could retrieve his belongings?
Absolutely. He may return one time only to retrieve personal belongings and only with law enforcement. Thank you.
Thank you.
Roger Williams. Roger Williams.
Mr. Williams? He's in the back in the cage, Your Honor. He is standing and can hear you.
Okay, Mr. Williams, you're charged with simple battery with one prior conviction. Bond is set at $2,500. Thank you.
Your Honor, in this case, defense would actually like to be heard in regards to bond conditions.
Sure.
So Mr. Williams is participating in a transitional house out of St. Cloud. We would be requesting that he be that his bond be lessened or at least straight pretrial release so he can go back to his transitional housing in St. Cloud. is receiving actual mental health, he's in transitional housing and to address his mental health concerns.
Well, I would impose mental health conditions, and I'll reduce the bond to $1,000 with mental health conditions.
Thank you. Plus mental health.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Your Honor, is that also with no contact with the victim?
It's no return to the scene. It appears to have occurred in a commercial establishment. So no return to the store where the incident occurred. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bond with mental health conditions. Alvin Wilmore.
Alvin Wilmore. Alvin Wilmore.
All right, Mr. Wilmore, it appears you're charged with trespassing to an occupied structure. Bond is set at $1,000. There is a misdemeanor case which you're currently out on bond. I'm going to take no action as to that case. And that's 18 MM 1260. Thank you.
Your Honor,
Yeah.
no do disrespect to the court law. No do disrespect to the court law, Your Honor. This case right there, Your Honor, I've been kidnapped in the property of the Walmart. The officer been kidnapped me. We have justice system. You guys need, Your Honor, you guys need to look at those cases. For the man like me, the black man, the police officer threat me anywhere you see me. If he don't arrest me, he will take me, he will put a bullet in my head. You guys need to look at those guys in public service who is a terrorist, American terrorist, and abuse me because I'm a black man. I'm the first child of the Judah, Your Honor. Why those things been happen to my life? All my life, Your Honor. No do disrespect to the court law. Look at this matter, Your Honor. No do disrespect to the court law, Your Honor. Less than 30 days, I get kidnapped again by the Sheriff Department.
Mr.
No
Wilmore,
disrespect, Your Honor. Look at this matter.
I don't-
My color is skin, Your Honor.
I don't know anything about the circumstances under which you're in custody on any previous occasion, other than the indication in this report that you were at the food spot, you were previously trespassed from the food spot, and you've been trespassed from there at least a couple of times. I don't know what else I can do, but I can reduce the bond to $500. That's about all I can do this morning.
That works.
And I'll take no action on the 18 MM 1260 for which you're already out on bond. But good luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kenneth Woolard.
Woolard Kenneth?
Mr. Woolard.
Woolard Kenneth? Woolard Kenneth? He's not here. Yeah, come on up.
He's approaching, Your Honor.
All right. Are you Kenneth Woolard?
I can't understand a word he's saying.
He asked you if you are Kenneth Woolard.
Yes, sir.
All right. You're also charged with trespassing in an unoccupied structure. Your bond is set at $500. However, I'll release you on pretrial release if you qualify, and you're not to return to that scene.
It's $500 or pretrial release if you qualify and you can't return to the scene. Your bond is $500 or pretrial release if you qualify and no return to the scene. Okay. Okay. Okay, good. So you could have a seat now. I'll talk to you after. You could have a seat.
Kurt Schmud, Mr. Schmud or Schmood?
Schmoody. Yes.
Wow. Sorry about that, Mr. Schmoody. You're charged with burglary to an unoccupied dwelling with bond set at $5,000 and petty theft with bond set at $5,000 per Judge Bigney. I'll stay the bonds at those amounts. Thank you.
Okay.
Aileen Serrano.
Eileen Serrano.
I don't know the underlying charges. All I know is that there's a violation of probation or community control, but Judge Whitehead set a bond at none. So I'll stay the bond at none and ask that your attorney file the appropriate motion. Thank you. James Coleman. I'm sorry, Kendrick James Coleman. Mr. Coleman?
Mr. Coleman. He's in the back, Your Honor. He can hear you.
All right, this is a reset from yesterday. As to 2018 CF 1530, bond is stayed at $5,000. As to 2018 MM 1578, bond is stayed at $750 or pretrial release in that case if he qualifies. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Tyler Romero. Is Mr. Romero present? That was a reset from
Mr.
yesterday.
Romer? Yeah, is Mr. Romer here? Your Honor, I've been informed that he's still at the hospital.
All right, we'll reset that, try and see him tomorrow. And also as to Daniel Torres Rivera, that was a reset based on medical. Is Mr. Torres Rivera present?
Mr. Torres Rivera is still in medical as well, Your Honor.
All right, so that'll be a reset too. Anything else that we need to address for Osceola County?
Yes, Your Honor, from our end, that is, everyone's been addressed.
Okay, thank you very much. So I'll appoint everyone. Yeah, actually, for today's purposes, I saw one or two that didn't qualify, but otherwise I'll appoint the public defender as to all defendants. Okay. Are you Mr. Marvin Meza?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Meza, you're charged with burglary of a dwelling with an assault or battery therein. If I give you a bond, is there any reason for you to go back to that property? All right, I'm going to set bond at $10,000. No return to the scene, no contact with the victim, and no being within 500 feet of the victim. All right, Ulysses Renes. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that correctly. Oh, okay. All right, Mr. Renes, you're charged with trafficking in cocaine over 28 but less than 200 grams with bond set at the standard amount $50,000, $100 each for possession of cannabis. I'm sorry. Yeah, trafficking in cocaine less than 200 grams but more than 28 grams. Bond is set at $50,000. Possession of cannabis and possession of paraphernalia, bond set at $100. And unfortunately, there was an out-of-county violation of probation at no bond that I cannot change. Thank you. Are you Mr. Jose Gonzalez Ramos?
Yes.
All right. You're charged with no valid driver's license. I'm going to set the bond at $100 or pretrial release if you qualify. I'm sorry? All right, so I'm going to release you on pretrial release. Are you Mr. Rosado Roman? Okay, Mr. Roman. You're charged with trespass on property. Does he qualify for pretrial release? All right, I'm going to set bond at $100 with a promise to appear. My guess is that'll resolve with a plea this week anyway. All right, thank you. Michael Rodriguez? Mr. Rodriguez, you're charged with battery. I'm going to set bond at $500. You're to have no contact with the victim, and you are not to return to that property until these charges are resolved. Any question about that? I'm sorry? Why is the Orange County oh, it's the Seminole County. I'm sorry. I didn't realize that. I'm sorry. It's a Seminole County bond. There's nothing I can do. I'd have to stay the bond at none. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Yes, Seminole County will transport him. Where am I signing? Who am I? Am I the judge on the left?
Yes.
Okay, so we're starting to move up, so there's that. All right, thank you, Madam. Nice to see you. Are you David Cope?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Cope, you're charged with failing to register within 48 hours of vacating a residence. Do you have a place to stay?
I'm already here.
Do you have a place to stay?
No, I'm homeless.
Judge, this is the gentleman that was trying to re-register at the sheriff's office 2 days after
1 day.
the day that he was supposed to register because he's transient. So based on that, he was arguably trying to comply with the statute, although it is, by technical terms, 1 day late.
Mr. Cope, I'm going to release you on your own recognizance, and I'm going to order that you report and register as required by 3 o'clock on Monday.
I'm gonna do what, sir?
Register at the sheriff's office by Monday at 3 o'clock.
So I'm going to release you on your own recognizance, but you must register by 3 o'clock
I'll never do
Monday.
it again. I was stressed out.
Well,
Sorry,
I
you
don't,
have to- yeah.
I don't blame you.
All right.
Have a good day.
So am I going home today?
Yes, that's what he just said.
You'll be
going home
released.
today?
Yes,
Your
Thank
Honor,
you,
for
Your
the
Honor.
record, the state would object.
Bless you.
I understand. All right, Mr. De Silva,
Thank you.
you're welcome. All right, Ms. Chong, we have an issue here with Mr. De Silva because the arrest warrant does not comport with the resulting charges that ended up being filed. So shouldn't I impose bond for the resulting charges that eventually were filed? I mean, on paper, it looks horrible, but in fact, it's an F2 and 3 misdemeanors.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, I'm going to set bond at $2,500 on count 1, $500 on count 2. The arrest warrant only has 2 counts. The information has 4. So I'm going to impose a $500 bond as to counts 3 and 4 if required. But according to the capias, he only needs to post bond on 1 and 2. I'll also ask that if there is any contact, that there be no contact with the alleged victim while the charges are pending.
Yes, sir.
All right, have a good day.
And Your Honor, for the record, the state would object to a $2,500 bond for the first count.
It's an attempted F2, so I'm comfortable with that.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you for your courtesy, Your Honor. Thank you, Steve.
2 counts. I just need to clarify with inmate records. You only have the 2 counts, correct? You have. Okay, okay.
So he would only need to post bond on the 2 counts and not the 4. So 2,500 and 500.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
All right. Are you Ashley Thompson?
Yes.
Ms. Thompson, you're charged with battery on a corrections officer. I'm going to set the bond at 2,500. Philippe Way? Are you Philippe Way? Mr. Way, there's not much I can do. Another judge imposed the order, but whoever the judge in Division 84 is, gave you $2,000, $2,000, and $100 on your 3 failures to appear. I would stay the bond at those amounts. I'm sorry, it was previously revoked? Oh, yes, so those are new bond amounts?
Yes.
Yeah. The bonds were previously revoked for the failure to appear, so those are new bond amounts. Sorry. Are you Carmela? Is it Buchanan? Yes. How do you say your name? How do you say your name?
Carmela.
Your last name?
Bohannon.
Ah, okay. You're charged with petty theft and resisting without violence. Bond set at $250 on count 1, $100 on count 2. All right?
Petty theft.
That's what it says.
And resisting violent. What?
Well, according to the report, it's the 7-Eleven at Americana. Charged with petty theft and resisting without violence. After reviewing the affidavit, I find that there's probable cause. This does not look like Miss Brown. Okay, so we'll reset. Mr. Farley? Are you Mr. Farley?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Farley, I'm going to release you on your own recognizance.
Yes, sir.
Do you have a residence? Do you have a place to stay?
No, sir.
If somebody wanted to get a hold of you to give you your court dates, how would they do that?
Send it to the coalition.
The Coalition for the
Yeah,
Homeless?
that's
All right, make sure you give that information to your attorney. I'm going to release you on your own recognizance with a promise to return to court. Can you do that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. LaToya Key? Are you LaToya Key?
Yes, sir.
All right, you were reset from yesterday. You're charged with petty theft with at least 2 prior convictions. This bond is set at $1,000. I'll stay the bond at $1,000. Do you qualify for pretrial release? She does not. Okay, then I can't do anything. So we'll stay the bond at $1,000. Thank you. Horace Rowland?
Not present.
Are you Ms. Allen? All right. Latranya Allen?
Yes, sir.
This is an order signed by another judge, so I'm not sure I can modify it, but are you on probation for a trespass?
No, I'm actually on probation for carjacking, my first charge, but they're talking about trespassing his car, and I never even had a trespassing order.
Okay, okay. Then that makes more sense that it's no bond on the VOP. For some reason, I thought it was a trespassing. So you're going to have to go to the division judge. I'm going to stay the bond at none on that carjacking.
No, I'm not on probation for, I'm on probation for the carjacking, but I done finished that and stuff like that. I'm here for this violation of probation where I've been in the car around drugs and stuff, and I did not know it was a stolen car. I asked him to take me to the store, and they ended up telling me that it was a stolen car that he had stole, so I didn't, that's one of the violations.
Okay, is that with Shantarius and Anthony on the trespass in the conveyance?
Yes, sir.
Okay, bond for that is set at $250.
10% is 100. Okay.
I'm not a bondsman. I don't know what conditions or how they do that, but luckily I've never had to post bond, so I'm sorry I can't help you. Yep.
I understand this. second. I gotta ask him a question.
Are you Cornelius Broadus? Are you Mr. Broadus?
Yes, I am.
Look at me. Tell me your name.
Cornelius Brothers.
All right. Having reviewed the affidavit, I find that there's no probable cause. I'm going to release you on your own recognizance. Have a good day.
Okay.
Are you Horace Jr. Rowland?
Horace Rowland Jr. Horace Rowland Jr.
Yeah. Junior, okay. You're charged with aggravated battery on a pregnant person in a domestic situation. Aggravated battery. I don't know which division it's assigned to. Division 15, so I'm going to stay the bond at none at this time and ask that your public defender file any motions in the assigned division. So hopefully they'll file a bond motion for you this week. All right, thank you. Are you Chris Solomon?
Yes.
You are? You're charged with soliciting without a permit.
Yes, sir.
How would you like to resolve your case?
No contest?
All right. How long have you been in?
Yesterday at some point.
So if I adjudicated you and gave you 3 days in jail, that would give you another day to clean up and have a healthy meal. Would that be acceptable?
Whatever you feel is necessary to do is fine by me.
Have you ever read a plea form before?
No.
No? Well, would you be entering a plea of guilty or no contest?
What's that mean, sir?
Guilty means you did it, no contest means you're not contesting the charges.
I'm not contesting the charges.
All right. So you're charged with soliciting without a permit, which I believe is a second-degree felony punishable, second-degree misdemeanor punishable by up to 60 days in jail. Do you understand that by entering a plea that you're giving up your right to a trial?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand that you're not contesting the evidence and you're giving up your right to confront any witnesses against you?
I am.
Do you understand that if you were not a U.S. citizen, entering a plea could result in your being deported?
But I am a U.S. citizen.
Well, then you don't have to
Yes.
worry about that.
Yeah.
All right. I don't think I'm going to go over anything else. I do have to impose court costs. I'm going to adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 3 days in jail with credit for 2 days' time served, and court costs. Good luck to you.
Set. I didn't get the whole thing, though. I mean, I stay another day in jail? Right. Right here.
I've been paying for it for the year.
What, how
You
much
gotta-
are they?
A way so I can pay payments in this court cost thing?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Solomon?
Yes.
Your total fine and costs are $273.
Okay.
I'm going to ask that you try and make a payment every month, but have that paid off within 1 year.
Yes, sir.
All right, have a good day.
Yes, sir. Now where are we going? Okay.
What do I have next? Where am I going? And then we'll just take a break to do these. All right, we should have Vaughn Cockrum next. Do we need a little time?
Would,
Do we need a little time to set up more? Oh. So we're starting with the misdemeanor domestic violence, and before the misdemeanor non-payables, I'm going to have to take a break because those I haven't reviewed yet. I just want to get as much done as we could. Sorry about that plea, I'm a little rusty. I know there's 24 questions and I can only think of 4 of them. right, Madam Pretrial Release. These are the ones I believe that I'm going to do right now, so I'm done with them. Oh, wait. I gave it to the clerk. I gave you the.
I gave them back.
Oh.
So
this is the
you're
one.
on misdemeanor DD. You should.
Yep. And I'm done with them. No, I've taken a note on the affidavits. Are you Vaughn Cockrum?
No, this is Mr. Davis, the one after, Cochran.
Is Mr. Cockrum not present?
Yeah, she's coming.
A miss. Sorry about that. All right, are you Hopeton Davis?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Davis, you're charged with battery in a domestic violence situation. Any reason for you to go back to that scene while these charges are pending?
That's my address. Person in, defendant is not, don't live there.
Well, I think you're the one that's the defendant. You're the
No,
one that's
I'm
been
saying,
charged.
whatever.
The alleged victim? Okay.
Yeah, that's not her address.
All right, I'm going to set bond at $1,000 and ask an order that you have no contact with the victim while these charges are pending. All right?
All right.
Are you Vaughn Cockrum?
Yes.
All right, you're charged with battery in a domestic violence situation. And this was your, what was the relationship?
My mother.
Any suggestions as to how we resolve this? Are you living there with her?
No. We're actually here on vacation.
Oh, that's right. Well, welcome to Florida,
Not the way I wanted to spend it.
right? Has the state had any contact with the alleged victim? Do they wish to go forward, or did they indicate they did not?
No, Your Honor, typically there's no offer on these battery cases without victim contact.
I'm sorry, without,
Without victim contact.
where do you live?
Tennessee.
Do you expect to be able to have contact with the victim? I mean, I know you'd like to. But if you're released, are you all going back to Tennessee?
Yes.
I'll tell you what. Since you live out of state, I do have to impose a bond amount, so I'm going to set bond at $500. And I'm going to order that you have no hostile contact with your mother. It means that you can have contact, you just can't have any hostile contact. If there's an argument, if the police are called and you're involved, I'll revoke your bond and you'll sit in jail at no bond. So $500 and no hostile contact. All right? Have a good day.
Your Honor, just for the record, because we have not had victim contact, the state would ask for no contact with the victim.
She's here with her mother and her daughter.
Just for the record, Your Honor.
Okay. Are you Laura Hunter?
Yes.
Ms. Hunter, you're also charged with battery in a domestic violence situation. And it's my understanding, are you Mr. Skinner?
Yes.
Nice to have all our laundry aired out in public, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anything you want, raise your right hand to be sworn first.
Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you're about to give should be the truth, the whole truth, so help you God?
I do.
Can you state your name for the record, please?
Eric Vaughn Skinner.
Anything you want to tell me?
We were just having a kind of a rough day yesterday, and it kind of got out of hand, and so I figured the best thing was for us to separate. for the evening.
For the evening or permanently?
No, I love Laura. She was having a bad day, and it was just a rough day. And
We've all had bad days, but let me give you a word of advice. When you're having a bad day, try to keep the police uninvolved in your life.
I understand.
All right, I'm going to release you on your own recognizance in order that you have no hostile contact. Something happens again, I'll revoke that. Good luck.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, are you Jasmine Rainey?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Rainey, you're also charged with battery and domestic violence in a domestic situation. I'm probably more concerned with you're out on bond on 2 felonies and another misdemeanor. How old are you?
20 years old.
Yeah, what's going on? Why do you have all this stuff going on? Without talking about the actual events, I think you're just going to have to grow up someday.
Yes, sir. I know I only supposed to have, take heed of your own actions, but I really been going through a lot since my baby father passed last month on the 14th. So that really been making me, upset a little bit.
And I understand that's a really good reason to be sad, but it's not a really good reason to have the police involved in your life.
Yes, sir, I understand.
So I'm sorry for your loss, but I hope you'll move on and not have the police involved. Is this where you were staying?
What'd you say, sir?
Is this where you were staying when this
3003
occurred?
West Columbia Street? Yes, sir.
Is there someplace else you can stay if I give you a bond?
Yes, my dad. I talked to my dad last night.
Is there any reason, do you still have some personal belongings there?
Well, yeah, my clothes.
Okay. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to set bond at $1,000. You are allowed to return to that place one time with law enforcement to retrieve any personal belongings. Other than that, no contact with these members until this case is resolved.
Okay.
All right?
Yes, sir.
As to 18 MM 3900 and 18 CF 1380. I'm not going to take any action at this time. Are you Nakira Ransom?
Yes.
You're also charged with battery, domestic violence. This was your sister?
Yeah.
Help me out here.
Judge, unfortunately, we have no contact with the victims yet. If Your Honor is inclined to set a bond, we'd ask for no contact since the sister's not here to say otherwise.
Are you both staying at that address?
Yes, this is my mom's house.
You got another place to stay while these charges are pending? How old's your sister?
33.
And you're 10 years younger than her?
Yeah.
Look, I'm going to set bond at $1,000. I'm going to order that I'm not going to order no contact, because if that's the only place y'all have to stay, y'all need a place to stay. But I'm going to order no hostile contact.
Okay.
So if you get into any arguments, any disagreements, the police are called, it's going to violate the terms of your release, and you'll sit in jail at no bond. Please don't make me do that.
Okay.
Have a good day.
Okay, thank you.
Are you Jermaine Smith?
Yes, sir.
Another family having a bad day.
Yes, sir. Actually, my father got buried yesterday, and stuff just went kind of like a little haywire because of, just bull crap. It was right after the funeral. Like,
Did this happen at your residence or at someone else's?
oh, my mother. My mother's residence, sir.
So if I give you a bond, do you need to go back there, or can you stay away for a few days while these charges
No, sir,
are
I can
resolved?
stay away.
All right, I'm going to set bond at $1,000 on count one,
Yes, sir.
$100 on count two. You are not to return to that scene. Count two is criminal mischief.
Okay, yes, sir.
You're not to return to that scene while these charges are pending. If you have personal belongings there, you can go one time with law enforcement, and you're to have no hostile contact with the
No
victim.
problem, sir.
Thank
Your
you.
Honor, just for the record, because we have not had contact with the state, or with the victim, the state would ask for no contact with the victim.
I'm okay with no hostile contact as long as you don't go back to the scene. As to the open case in 2018 CF 1377, I'll take no action. Are you Mr. Arroyo?
What do you mean?
Are you Mr. Arroyo?
No.
He did.
Can we reset him for tomorrow?
Sure. We'll try. It ain't up to me.
This is Mr. Brown. I know Mr. Britton was listed next.
I've got Mr. Azor. Am I in the wrong pile? What happened to Gene Azor? Robert Britton and
Robert Breeden bonded, Your Honor. We don't have a Azor on that list.
Jean-Baptiste Azor? Well, let me guess. Are you Rod Brown?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Brown, it's not my order. It's Division 15, and so there's not really much I can do about it. The judge has imposed no bond on 3 separate counts of failure to appear, so you're going to have your attorney file a motion with that division. So the bond is...
I'll notify his appointed public defender.
I'm sorry?
I'll notify the
Okay,
public defender
great.
on his
Thank
case
you,
that
Mr.
he's been
Parker.
arrested.
Which one? No, I said on the record I'm taking no action. Are you Francis Carrico?
Yes.
Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Carrico.
Carrico. Had to be one or the other. Sorry about that. You've got failures to appear from Division 19. So the judge has ordered bond as to count 1 at $3,000, bond as to count 2 at $300. I know that you're out on a misdemeanor 2018-396, being in a park after hours. I'm not going to take any action as to that one. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are you Joseph Cawley? Mr. Cawley, you're charged with possession of cocaine or possession of paraphernalia. Bond is set at $1,000 on count 1, $100 on count 2, or trial release if you qualify. All right? Is there another charge? All right, you've got a failure to appear on a possession of paraphernalia. I'm going to set bond at $100 as to that count. Yes. I'm sorry? Correct. Bond or pretrial release. For both. Are you Randolph Chamberlain?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chamberlain, you're charged with possession of cocaine and trespass in a dwelling. Bond is set at $1,000 on count 1, $100 on count 2, or pretrial release if you qualify. All right? Have a good one.
We prefer the latter.
Either one.
Some of them are already pre-qualified, so they can get straight PTR instead of bond or, but he's already qualified for it.
Okay, I didn't think I needed to say anything different. If he's already pre-qualified, then PTR. Okay, thank you.
Your Honor, the state would ask for a no return to the scene?
Hang on. Whose place was that apartment at Rio Grande? Not yours? Okay, don't go back. No return to the scene.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Are you Torquil Coleman?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Coleman, you're charged with possession of methamphetamine, introducing contraband into a facility. Bond is at 1,000 on count 1, 150 on count 2. Thank you. We'll get through it. We'll be all right. Right. Okay, you do not look like Angelina Kramer.
She's in the hospital, yeah.
Okay, so we'll reset. Are you Nicholas Deal? Mr. Deal, you're charged with possession of cannabis with intent to deliver. Based on a review of the affidavit, I'm setting bond at $1,000. Nastaki, is it Exantis?
Yes, sir.
You're charged with burglary of a structure while wearing a mask with bond set at $5,000 and trespass on property after warning with bond set at $100. Based on my review of the affidavit, I'll stay the bonds at those amounts. Thank you.
Judge, we would just ask for no return.
Any reason for you to go back to that area? Stay away. No return to the scene. Thank you. No, I did not. I decided not to. Are you Anthony Galloway?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Galloway, you're busy. Got a driving while license revoked as a habitual offender and possession of paraphernalia with bonds set at $2,500 and $100. You also have a no motor vehicle registration. I will ROR you as to that count. You're on bond on a prior duelis, a grand theft, and 3 petty thefts. What am I supposed to do with that? Mr. Parker, any suggestion?
Judge, we would ask the court not disturb the bonds that he's already out on and set a reasonable bond in this new case.
I'm okay with the bonds amount in the new case. I'm just wondering, what is it going to take to make someone stop driving until everything's in place?
I'm done.
Well, you say that, but your record says otherwise.
I know, I'm done.
Just don't drive. There's bicycles, there's buses, there's other places to live that have public transportation better than Central Florida. All right, I'll take no action. Are you Arturio Gillum? Mr. Gillum, you're charged with failing to register a vehicle under the statutory requirements. Do you still have that vehicle?
What vehicle, sir?
Well, I don't know. You tell me.
Judge, the law has changed a lot on this issue in the last couple of years, and I believe that not a lot of the offenders are aware of the changes in the law, which require you to register motor vehicles and boats and RVs and scooters and things that you don't even own, actually, under the statute. So, given the nature of the offense, would the court consider setting a reasonable bond of $500 or less?
Does it qualify for pre-trial release?
I don't know.
I just want you to register the vehicle so you don't get arrested again.
Yes, sir. Register a vehicle.
Any vehicle that you own,
Well, the statute says even if you don't own it, if the vehicle is at your residence and you have access to it, you have to register. That includes boats and RVs too. So that's an addition that's taken place within the last 5 years that people aren't even aware of necessarily.
All right. Based on the circumstances, I'm going to release you on your own recognizance.
Your Honor, for the record, is this last name Gilliam?
Yes. Yeah, the charge is that he failed to register a vehicle that was on one of the property, that was on the property where he was residing. It doesn't even necessarily require that he be the owner. I'm not keeping someone in jail for that.
But that is the law,
I
technically.
understand that.
If we may approach, I believe I have a different charge for this case.
The only violation I show is the failure to register a vehicle. Is there something else I should be aware of?
Your Honor, I have failure to register as a sex offender.
Right.
Yeah,
I understand that.
statute is very broad.
But it's not the failure to register himself as the status that he is, it's the failure to register the vehicle.
Yes, Your Honor.
So now that he knows from now on to register all vehicles, I'm going to release him on his own recognizance and require that he register the vehicle if he is so required to. I didn't say it. Let's say within a week. Can you somehow let him know I didn't put a time frame? If he's required to register the vehicle, do so within 1 week. Are you Devin Glenn? Mr. Glenn, you're charged with possession of cocaine with intent to sell or deliver. I'm going to set bond at $5,000.
Say that again?
I'm going to set bond at $5,000. Okay?
$5,000.
It's better than 15.
I'm just on. But thank you.
Oh, he'll tell you. All right, thank you. Are you Christopher Hendy?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Hendy, you're charged with driving while license suspended with at least 2 prior convictions, making it a third-degree felony. At some point, you just got to stop driving. It's not worth coming in and out of jail for. I'm going to set bond at $1,000. Are you Ravel Jenkins? Mr. Jenkins, you're charged with carrying a concealed firearm. With bond set at $1,000. Possession of cannabis with bond set at $100. Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Strike that. You're charged with carrying a concealed firearm. I'm going to set that bond at $2,500. $100 on the possession of cannabis in lieu of taking action on 17 CF 1585. All right? Thank you. Are you Mr. Jimenez Moya? Do you not know who you are?
Last name, Johnson.
No, Mr. Moya is not present.
My last name Johnson, sir.
Okay. So Mr. Moya, has he bonded?
I don't have.
Jimenez, Juan Jimenez Moya? Oh, I won't worry about it.
It's 1801-3375.
Okay. God, you guys are good.
I have one more, sorry. 1801-3401.
So, are you Dariante Johnson?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Okay, Mr. Johnson, you're charged with possession of cocaine with intent to sell or deliver. Bond is set at $1,000. Possession of cannabis, $150. Possession of paraphernalia, $100. You are absolutely to possess no firearms. Do you understand that? If you own any firearms, you should turn them into the sheriff's office. There should be no firearms in the residence where you're staying at. All right, thank you. Malik Jordan? All right, you're charged with fleeing or attempting to elude a police officer. I'm going to set the bond at $2,500. Darian Longstreet?
Yes, sir. How you doing today?
I'm all right. Probably better than you are. You're charged with robbery. I'm going to set the bond, stay the bond at $5,000, $100 on the battery. That's per the order per Judge Roach, so I'm not changing the bonds.
Your Honor, the state would ask no contact with the victim.
Yes, no contact with the victim. Are you Mr. Mena?
Yes, sir.
You're charged with driving while license revoked as a habitual offender. Does he qualify for pretrial release? All right, I'm going to release you on pretrial release. However, if you are caught driving, I will revoke your pretrial release and have you sit in jail at no bond until your court date. Any question about that? Don't disappoint me. Thank you. Are you Frederick Pomeroy?
Yes, sir.
So, Mr. Pomeroy, this is based on the allegation that you were registering regularly at an address, and one of the people at the address indicated you were not there.
That's got to be untrue. The only people that live at that address is me and my wife. I've lived there. I bought the house, and
Or is it just that you failed to register by April 30th?
That's what it was. I was off by like 4 days. I've been registering for 17 years. I missed one time.
So why miss when you know? Why be here today when you know you've got to do that?
I was just late, and I slipped my mind, sir.
Judge, in these situations, the state, I know, wants them to come into compliance. So if there was an issue as far as them not being in compliance or having a history of it, I could see them really prosecuting him for it. But in my experience, they just want to see them come into compliance, and then it will sort itself out, which it sounds like.
Sort itself out into another conviction, or sort
No.
itself out into a no info?
Probably the latter.
May I say something?
Can you register? Can you afford a $500 bond?
Yes, I can.
Can you register within 24 hours of being released?
Yes, sir.
$500 bond, register within 24 hours. Are you Corey Rader?
He's in the hospital, Your
Oh.
Honor.
Hospital, and we'll reset. Are you Trayvon Ranking? All right, you're charged with possession of cannabis with intent to deliver or sell within 1,000 feet, excuse me, of a child care area. I'm going to set bond at $2,500. You're charged with possession of methamphetamine with a weapon. I'm going to set bond at $5,000. Possession of a firearm in commission of a felony, $5,000. Possession of cannabis with intent to sell and deliver, $100. Possession of methamphetamine while in possession of a firearm, $1,000, in lieu of taking any action on 18 CF 2949. No action on that.
There's only 3 counts. Those are the original offenses.
Oh, I'm sorry. There's only 3 counts, so 2,500 on count 1, 5,000 on counts 2 and 3. Thank you. Are you Rachel Richards?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Ms. Richards, I'm not sure who the judge is in Division 12, but based on the failure to appear, I'm sorry? Judge Harris issued a warrant for your failure to appear at no bond, so I'm going to stay the bond at none and ask your public defender to file a motion for bond conditions with Judge Harris. All right, thank you. Are you Rosado Feliciano? How do you say your first name?
Jackson.
Jackson. All right, Mr. Rosado Feliciano, you're charged with trafficking in heroin greater than 14 grams. I'm going to set bond at $100,000 on that count. I'll stay the bonds at the remaining, as to the remaining counts at $150, $100, and $100. As to your driving while license suspended or revoked, bond is set at $500. Thank you. Are you Karen Scott?
Scott.
Chiron, sorry about that. One or the other. Sorry. You're charged with burglary of a structure with assault or battery, 2 counts of aggravated assault with a firearm. Based on the domestic nature of the offenses, I'm going to stay the bond at none at this time and order no contact with the victims, no return to the scene, and I'm just going to ask that the public defender file a bond motion with the division it's assigned to. No, I'm losing my voice. Are you Kobe Stevenson?
Yes, sir. How you doing?
Yeah, Mr. Stevenson, I don't know who the judge is in Division 15, but you've also got 2 counts of failure to appear, and the judge issued a warrant at no bond. Yes, sir.
I'm just
Talk with your lawyer for a minute.
Testify or put testimony on the record as to why he failed to appear so that the court will set a bond today.
I don't know if technically I'm allowed to reduce a bond if another judge has set no bond on a capias for failure to appear. If it's a simple probable cause order, that's different.
Yeah, it was just the simple fact that I was home.
You want me to respond to that before he testifies?
No. Yes, raise your right hand to be sworn.